Hi, it's Amber Kivett here with Lifepro Fitness. I'm very sorry if you were trying to tune into the Amazon Live broadcast. We are experiencing some technical difficulties. So until we can get those addressed, I'm going to go ahead and share with you here today through the Lifepro page. So today is all about what is the difference between the two platforms, the vibration platforms, the Hovert and the Rumblex. I have both platforms located here behind me. So I'm going to go through and share with you the differences. If you're on the fence of trying to choose one versus the other and you're ready to get your platform, hopefully this little segment will give you some ideas of what to look forward to. I started with the Hovert about a year ago and upgraded to the Rumblex as soon as it was released. Depending on what your needs are, we'll talk about that here in just a second, will be kind of which model you choose to go with for yourself. So if you happen to have questions as I'm sharing this information, feel free to post it below and I will catch them as much as I can. But for now, I'm going to take you over here to the platforms. So we have, this is the Rumblex and this is the Hovert. If you're looking at these two platforms side by side, the Rumblex sits a little higher and it is curved. And the the Hovert sits really flat, but it's nice and wide. The Waver and the turbos are narrower than the Hovert, but the Hovert is flat, whereas the Rumblex is more curved, okay? So when we're looking at the controls, both of them have this LED touchscreen. And so if I flip that on, they all power on the back. I've already got this one already powered on, but it also has a power on-off button, which is really handy because if you happen to leave it plugged in, it automatically kicks itself off after a little while of not being used. So we have both devices. If you're looking at them side by side, both are pretty comparable in size. Both devices are going to come with this awesome kit of some different accessories. The Hovert comes with this remote versus the wristband remote. And both are going to come with these 4 bonus fitness bands, resistance loop bands, a little bag, and then they come with the attachable cords, resistance bands, and those are adjustable. You can use them while you're standing on the platform or you don't have to use them at all. Okay, so those are the main differences when you're looking at them. When we're looking at the programming, both of them are going to have this nice non-skid rubberized top, and you can start in the middle with the walking. You can go to jogging or you can go running. Now, you're not going to jog or run on this, but the whole point of having one versus the other is showing you that the wider you go, the more intense the exercise. And the same thing applies with the Rumblex. The wider you go, the more intense the exercise. All right? So as we're looking at the programming here, we have the options of being able to change our speed for both sides. I tend to not mess with the speed because I really like the features of the preset programming. These right here are your time controls. So it's telling you you're going to get a preset of 10 minutes to start. If I push the set button, it's going to go through several pre-programmed settings. So we've got a P2 all the way up till we stop here at a P8. And then the HA is going to be more of your manual mode where you have complete control over the speed variation. Again, I tend to not use the manual settings on this because I really like the way they've got things preset. So for this one, and it doesn't take much contact. But as you push, whatever program you set, the higher the number, the harder the program. And then you can push the play button. And now we're starting to go. So it's very, very quiet. It has really cool suction cups underneath that keep it from shifting on the floor, so you don't have to worry about it moving as you're trying to get on it, okay? This one vibrates through the bottom, and it also tilts side to side. So it's considered a 3-dimensional platform. I'm going to come around this other side so that you can see them side by side. So not a whole lot of aggressive movement there, tilting side to side. So there you heard the Rumblex. It automatically turned itself off because I wasn't using it. So if you happen to forget to turn it off, it automatically kicks itself off. Very, very handy feature. If I go here to turn this model on, I'm going to go ahead and get this started so that you can see what it looks like side to side. So now they're both tilting side to side. Okay, so you're going to see a little more tilt on the Rumblex, which is the taller device, than you are on the Hovert, which is the flatter device. Okay, so you also see on the Rumblex how we've got the lights on the ends. That's going to tell you where your intensity is. So the intensity being green, yellow, or orange, and then red. The higher the intensity goes, the more these lights change colors. So let's go through this. If you're wanting to increase your speed, you have the ability to change all of that here on the panel. If you choose that you don't want to bend over, then you have this awesome handy dandy wrist bracelet. So it just slaps around your wrist, kind of like the old slap bands from back in the 80s, 90s. Fun stuff there. Kids will think that's awesome, by the way. But you can increase your speed as you want to. And the higher it goes, the more it changes the color. So it's 3 different colors of intensity. And there it is all the way up to a 60. And as you can see, it is moving quite well. That's a good feeling when you're standing on it. And this is still at a lower speed. Again, we can go back through and we can adjust that setting. I'm trying to walk slow so I don't make all you guys nervous and sick from watching me. So if we, let's pause that for a second. So you have the ability, you have the ability to change and override the speed. This one, for sure, is much more aggressive. So if you are just starting out, you can always go with the Rumblex and start it on a low level. So I'm going to turn this off and start again so you can see the different programs that it has. The beauty of this machine is it has these pre-programmed settings. So if you look at the button that has the piece of paper that's kind of got a chunk out of it, we have a P1, we have a P2, and we have a P3. Now, here's the thing. With each one of these programs, the machine changes up on its own. So it's very user-friendly, foolproof. You don't have to come up with your own programming. You just have to stand on it or sit in a chair and put your feet on it. Just depends on what your goals are, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But if you're looking at the different programs, let's go back to P1, and then I push play. Basically, P1 right now, this button right here, this logo, simply means that we're just feeling vibration through the platform. So the platform's not moving, it's just vibrating, okay? I'm gonna stand up here so that you can actually see things happening. Okay, so I'm standing, and it's just vibrating, and it's gonna vibrate until it gets all the way up to that high level, and then it's gonna change. And now we're tilting. Okay, now we're tilting, so it's gonna ramp that all the way up, and it's gonna switch through to the next setting. All right, now, what's really cool about this one, so this right here, you're seeing it's going into tilting mode. And then as it switches through, it's getting ready to switch. You can see the red, it's at the very top of the level. It's gonna switch through, and now you're gonna get vibration and side tilt. So you're getting 2 different combinations of movements here, which feels really, really good. Okay, from here, it's gonna continue to work its way through. All right, so that's P1 program. And again, each one of these programs is a little bit different. So if you are just starting out, P1 or P3, probably P3 is going to be the more gentle for you. P2 is rather aggressive if you're not used to all 3 movements at the same time. Start easy on a P1 or P3. If you just want to go manual mode, you just tap the button that looks like the square versus the one that's missing. It's got a piece of paper with the bite taken out of it, is what I like to call that one. So this one right here, this shows that we're gonna feel vibration. So when I start this, we're just feeling vibration, and it'll stay right here. So if you want more speed, you can operate that from, you can operate that from your remote on your wrist, okay? And the remote on your wrist is definitely easier to understand versus what these controls are. Some might think plus and minus is a speed increase, or this over here might be a time increase. On the remote, it's very straightforward. You either increase speed, decrease speed, my bad. And the manual mode, you'll be in manual mode when you're doing that. To increase time, it usually automatically is pre-programmed for 10 minutes because that's the ideal, that's like the optimal way to start. And so if we arrow through, we have to pause to arrow through. So now we're gonna see a tilting action, okay? So there's your tilting action. I'm letting the remote stay on there so you can see how this is it's actually tilting side to side, okay? All right, so from there, then if we go to the next, that's vibration. This one is lateral, so it shifts actually side to side, which is quite a bit more aggressive than just the tilting feature. So if you are getting started, those of you who are just coming back from a total knee or total hip replacement, you do not want to start with that setting. That's going to be a lot of aggressive movement if you're just starting a routine after going through total knee replacement or total hip replacement. You're going to want to stay with this vibration or with the tilting up and down versus the shifting side to side. What's really cool about this is if we go through here and arrow through, I've shown you those two. You can do both of these at the same time, or you can do this one at the same time. This is one that my clients absolutely love. And you can see how that remote is moving. It's pretty aggressive because you're getting not only a tilting feature, but you're getting a lateral shifting feature. So it's moving side to side and it's tilting up and down. The only thing that you're missing here is vibration. So if we change up the settings and you just arrow through or hit the manual button until you get to exactly what you want. So this is going to be vibration and side to side motion. And then this one is the jackpot. This is everything happening all at once. So this is what that 4D means. You're getting a tilt, you're getting a lateral shift, you're getting a vibration, which therefore creates like a spiraling effect. And this is the one that majority of my clients really go after. They really like this feature. Now, if you are wanting to see the difference here, we're going to go through the manual mode. I'm going to turn it all the way up to here. Then I'm going to increase, I keep going the wrong side. We're going to increase our speed so you can really see how this is working. Okay, now you can hear that working, okay? There is a lot of stuff going on right there, which is awesome because if you have connective tissue or you've got restless legs, that is stuck, your tissue is stuck and you're trying to stretch, you're doing foam rolling, you're doing all kinds of therapy and you can't fix anything, you're still in pain. That is one of the greatest features, I think, of the Rumblex is doing all of those together. So let me come back to you. Okay, so what's really cool? So I am a sports medicine, I'm a certified licensed sports medicine professional, and as well as a strength coach and a speed agility coach. But my specialty is pain management. I deal with people who are in pain. That's my client base. I have several of these platforms. For senior citizens who are just coming off of, again, you've had a total knee replacement, you've had a total hip replacement, or you are getting ready to go in for those different treatments, those surgeries. Maybe you are having trouble with balance, okay? These are awesome devices for that, but what's really important is that you start from a seated position, especially if you're just coming back from a surgery. So how do we go about doing this? I'm gonna bring my chair up here, and I just sold some of these to a client who needed, she had trouble with just standing on top of here, but she could feel this working in her body from a seated position. So you don't have to be in a standing position in order to use one versus the other. But I'm going to start with these devices and let you see what it looks like when your body is actually on one versus the other, and you can just watch how my body adjusts. Little rule for you is making sure when you get on your device, make sure you turn the device on first instead of stepping on and then turning it on, because you don't know how it's going to respond. So for safety reasons, I'm just going to start at a P4 level on the Hovert, and it's already pre-programmed, so it just does its thing. So you don't have to worry about anything. But just sitting here, I'm getting movement, okay? And what is really important to understand, even though it doesn't feel like you're doing much, if you understand how vibration affects the total body as a unit on a cellular level. So not only does it work with muscles, it works with lymph, with fluid, it works with hormones, it does so many amazing things, vibration does. That's why these devices are money. That's why these things are like golden. That's why just having one of these in your home, especially when you're home a lot, many of us here lately, just having the vibration through your feet is changing how your body works internally. Some of you might wonder, am I supposed to do this barefoot? Am I supposed to do this with shoes on? I personally do a lot of barefoot training because I understand barefoot science. We have neuroreceptors that a lot of them only exist on the bottom of the skin on the feet, and those enrich the brain with communication as to where our body is located in space. So when we excite those nerve cells, the brain gets sharper and the body starts to function different. When we stop exciting those nerve fibers, our body doesn't work the same. So pain can set in, it's harder to balance, it's harder to walk. So just having your feet on the platform direct without any socks or shoes on, you're exciting those nerve cells on the bottom of the feet, and you don't even have to stand up. Just the vibration alone is pushing through your body, and your body's responding to that. We've got a lot of connective tissue that covers and holds our entire body together. We've got 12 different fascial slings. And that fascia, that connective tissue, is largely responsible for a lot of pain issues and a lot of autoimmune disease. That tissue is super happy with vibration on a tolerable level. So some people, especially those with fibromyalgia, will do really well with just the level I'm sitting at right now. But if they were to stand up and do this on a P7 level, they might feel it for a couple of days, like a little sore. Able to move different, but still sore for a few days. Whereas on this one, if they stand on this one, depending on what setting it's on, if you're doing the 4-dimensional movement where you're getting everything all at the same time, that might be overload sensory. So more is not always better. But here I am just kind of going with the flow. This is already set up. It kind of changes pace on its own. So that's how that one is. That speed right there, it's 25 on one and it's 14 on the other. That's when the speeds can get kind of confusing on those, so I don't mess around with the speeds on the Hovert. I just like the way it is. Now, I'm going to go with a P1 setting on this one. And again, just starting everything. And from a seated position, you know, I'm stable, I have balance, so I don't have to worry about what the machine's going to do. But if you're actually going to stand on the machine, make sure you turn it on first so you have an idea of where it's going, and then you can step on. Make sure you're close to a wall or a chair or something. So right now it's just vibrating, lots of vibration. However, what's really important to understand on this one, the wider that you go, the more curved your feet are going to roll to the inside. So you might have to start with your feet closer together because your feet are flat. But either way, if you want that aggressive feeling, like right now, this is doing exactly the same thing that one is set up to do right now. So I'm doing the exact same thing. But because I am curved on the Rumblex, I'm feeling this a lot more in my thighs. And the intensity and the speed is greater on the Rumblex than is on the Hovert. So if you are a senior citizen or somebody who is recovering from injury or surgery or going into those scenarios, and you want to err to the side of caution to less, you can do either unit But on the Rumblex, you need to make sure that you're starting very low on the manual mode and working your way through. With this one, with the Hovert, you don't have to worry about it shifting side to side, so balance and proprioception, which is our body's awareness in space, isn't going to be as much of a problem. However, if you are somebody who is really trying to work on that weight loss, you're trying to work on hormones, you're trying to work on pain management because things are stuck, like you are having SI joint issues, plantar fasciitis, fibromyalgia, a lot of those things. I like the Rumblex more than I like the Hovert personally. I have fibromyalgia, I've had spinal injuries, I work a lot of hours on a daily basis, although I'm completely pain-free as long as I use my platform on a pretty regular basis. So what is a regular basis? It's dependent on each person. So once a day, twice a day, you can do morning and the evening. For me, as long as I'm on there once every 3 or 4 days, I'm happy. My body is happy. But if I like the aggressive of the Rumblex, I like its features. And at the same time, my daughter is 9. And so, she's working on her athleticism and she's working on, the Rumblex will help with anxiety. It's really cool. You just use it on a very low level instead of activating. If you have trouble getting your energy jump started in the morning, they're both really, really good for that. So anyways, let me see what we got. Awesome. Yes, I love doing everything barefoot. Barefoot is huge for me. So let's go back through some of these things here. The Rumblex, it comes with this floor mat. So if you don't like having your body in contact with the platform, you can use this over the top of it and protect your knees if you have really sensitive knees or whatever it is that you're sensitive with. It provides a little extra padding to take positioning with. The Hovert does not come with that. But it doesn't matter if you have, I've got an exercise mat behind this because, again, I like to be barefoot and I like to be able to get traction on the floor if I'm on a hard floor. You can use them on carpet. You can use them on a hard surface. You can use them really about everywhere. You just want to make sure that it's level. There's a lot of different things that we can do with the exercise bands. I'm not going to get into that too heavy today because I want to be able to show you what I look like when I'm on these platforms so that you can see the difference in the intensity between these two. Again, when you have the bands, they just loop into the bottom down here. I find if you want to use the bands just for grounding, so you don't have to curl, you don't have to do anything as far as exercise goes, you can just hold the bands and the bands will maintain good stabilization and balance if you're worried about that. The bands help with that. So, but if you're wanting to do actual weightlifting with arm curls, or you can use Kansas soup, or you can do band splitters with a regular resistance band, whatever you want to do, you can go without the handles. You don't have to use the handles at all. So, let's go back over here to the Rumblex, and I'm just going to go through the P3 setup because I do P2 a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and stand on here for y'all. And let me see. Yes. Okay, so I was talking about earlier some of the different things that you might want to use your platform for. Again, weight loss is great. Fat loss, specifically fat loss. Really good because the vibration and the work of the platforms drives the parasympathetic nervous system into a state of upregulation, which means that it is going to start putting you through recovery. If you are a super stressed individual, and whether you bring on your own stress or you just work or live in a stressful environment, and you have a hard time relaxing, or you find that you're taking anxiety medication, antidepressants, the platforms can help. Their studies have shown that the platforms can help with improving depression and anxiety because it taps into our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our nervous system that helps us to heal and recover and repair, and it's injury prevention. If you're doing this for weight loss, it is really important to understand just standing on the platform alone every day without changing diet and without changing your physical activity regimen is not going to help you to reach the goals that most of you want to reach. In other words, this is not the magic pill that will help you lose weight or fat if you are not adjusting your lifestyle as a whole. I will tell you, I started using mine about a year ago, the Hovert, and the Rumblex I've been using at least once every couple of days, at a minimum, sometimes once a day, and sometimes twice a day. Just every day is a little different, just whenever I have time for it. But since I have incorporated this into my daily routine with being at home all the time, I'm down about 10 pounds in the last month. And I haven't changed my eating. I have changed my workout, so I'm actually working out less, but I'm doing this. And I am mixing up my routine. So I'm not just standing on it every day. Some days I might sit and elevate my legs just to let them detox. And the weight and the fat loss happens when our body can detox. So when we carry a lot of strain around and we carry processed chemicals from things that we eat, because we're all guilty of eating junk from time to time, and there's no shame in that, but that stuff stays in your system for a while, and this is what helps to eliminate that. In fact, I tell you what, I'm vibrating right now, so I want to show you something here. I'm going to let you continue to eyeball those. I want to show you a picture of something that's really kind of jaw-dropping, really. When my clients are looking to figure out which one of these they want to get and why it's so important, when you're on that machine, there are a lot of things happening beyond your comprehension. So this right here is what connective tissue should look like. When it's hydrated, when it's healthy, when things are doing what they're supposed to do. And we have this connective tissue throughout our entire body, okay? When we start to feel bad and we start to feel pain and we start to feel like crap and we start to not move. So if you don't move, this is what that tissue starts to look like. So if you can see how gummy and stuck all of those little strands are, what's really important is if you can imagine an earthquake effect to this, that's what the vibration platform is doing. And what's really important to understand about this is there are several of, this is like what connects this all together. So don't want to gross any of you out, but the top picture here is what it should look like. The middle picture here is what it looks like when you cut in before cutting through the muscle. And then the bottom picture here is what it looks like if you just peel back the skin. We have that connective tissue throughout our entire body. It's in our brain, it's in our vertebra, it's in our skin, it holds our meridians, our lymphatic system, every nerve vessel, anything and everything that is attached through the human body is surrounded by one of several types of that connective tissue. And so when that connective tissue doesn't get stimulated every 15 minutes on some level or another, that's why many of us roll when we sleep at night or just move a little bit. We don't realize we do it, but we do it. But when our body doesn't move every 15, 20 minutes, that tissue starts to create extra tension because it's going into lockdown mode. And when that happens is when our body stops moving like it's supposed to. And we can compress on pain receptors, and that tissue has the ability to sense pain much, much greater, like tenfold, than your standard nerve tissue. So it is a super powerful tissue, and the platforms are really healing for that tissue. It really likes that tissue. So, or the tissue really likes that. But when we look at how many of these different, I don't know if we can see that or not. There we go. We have, those are all connective tissue chains. So they all overlap each other. They're everywhere. So those of you who are experiencing shoulder pain, you can get on the platforms. And when we look at the shoulder, all those different striations, that is what's holding us together. And so it's really important if you are on the platform and you're not feeling good, okay? You feel great when you're on the platform, you get off the platform, the rest of the day you're like, oh, I'm really sore, and maybe I'm a little nauseous, or maybe I'm a little tired. You have just rattled that connective tissue, and it's got to do something. And if you're not hydrating it, it's like a dry, brittle sponge. So you want to make sure that when you're on the platforms on a regular basis that you're drinking lots of water because it flushes all the crap out of our system. So I'm going to set myself up here on this unit so you can see what's going on. I'm on a P6, and I'm just going to tilt. Just kind of go with the flow. You can keep an eye out for workouts on our page, on the Lifepro page. I try and teach workouts, like how I incorporate this into my daily regimen on a pretty routine basis, at least once a week. So if you're trying to figure out how to use abs, if you're trying to work arms or your butt or this area back here where we have the extra bat wings, so we jokingly call them, if you're wanting to work the bottom of your feet, or you're trying to work through a specific type of physical condition, make sure and keep an eye out for any of the videos that I've taught in the last several months, because we try and post them at least once a week. And if there's something that you need to hear about, make sure and let me know so that we can provide you the information that you want. Because I've been doing this kind of work for about 20 years, and I do this stuff every single day, and I've been studying and learning sports medicine and autoimmune and a lot of other challenging conditions, and so I'm very familiar with a lot of things and how the units can work together for us. So if you're on the fence, not quite sure which platform to go with, if you want my opinion, upgrade to the Rumblex, because if you do decide that it's too much intensity for you, you can always bring the intensity down. But with the Hovert, once you tap out at that P8 level and you've added your resistance bands and you're doing the different positions and the workouts that I share, that's as good as it gets. I mean, you are only going to make it as challenging as you can put your body through. Whereas the Rumblex, because it's a 4-dimensional movement, you can get so much more going at the same time. It's more intense. If that is who you are and you want that die-hard intensity, the Rumblex is going to make you very happy. If you are not quite sure, go ahead and get started with something, because I can guarantee you there are going to be other people that are going to come over to your house and wonder where the heck you got your platform, because they're that awesome. And they're going to want one, and if you decide you want to upgrade to the Rumblex at a later time, you can sell the one you bought to a neighbor or a friend. I have 4 here at my home and in my facility, and there is always a line to get on my platforms with my clients. They always are waiting, and they'll wait 20 or 30 minutes to get on one for just a 10-minute routine, because if you have plantar fasciitis, if you have restless leg syndrome, or if you're swollen, or if you are in pain, 10 minutes is a huge difference in recovery. And most people will wait for a day to see a doctor. So what's 20 or 30 minutes, So if you're not quite sure which way to go, I personally, my favorite is the Rumblex. I have had some senior citizens who are a little more disabled and harder to get around, that don't feel very stable on that one. But again, on that one, you start from a seated position where you make sure that you're close to a wall or something that you can hold on to. You can stand up behind your kitchen counter and do this and have something to hold on to. If you are working during the day and you have a desk, slide it underneath of your desk, and when you have a break, pull it out, get on it, and then when you're done, slide it back under. You can always rest your feet on top of it, because it's always good to have your feet elevated when you're sitting at your desk anyways. It helps to realign the pelvis in a neutral position. So right now, I'm starting to itch a little bit, and many of you who already have a platform might recognize that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like ready to just claw myself. It's like super, super itchy, and some of you might turn red. That is totally normal when you are going through a detox. So if you are doing this for detox, well, it doesn't matter. If you're doing it for detox or not, you're probably going to itch if you have a bunch of stuff stuck in that connective tissue that I showed you a picture of earlier. And because we're creating that gentle earthquake effect, we're breaking all of that free. And now it's free floating around in our body. And the cool part about it is the platform they upregulate the lymphatic system, which is our body's garbage disposal system. So just by standing on this platform is telling my body, hey, I need you to flip the switch on the garbage disposal. Let's get this crap out of here. So as we're breaking this stuff free, and as your body is starting to pump that stuff out of the direction that you don't want it to be, you might start to feel a sensation of itching, or you might turn red, and you might turn red or be itching for the rest of the day. And if that happens, water, water, water. Drink lots of water. Because when you drink water, you flush all of that stuff out of your system. I have not heard of anybody having an allergic reaction from being on these, but I'm sure that there's a possibility that that can happen, though rare. It's about like the allergic reaction to ice. which is different in a sense than Raynaud's syndrome. But nonetheless, if you get super itchy, it's not anything necessarily bad majority of the time. It's just your body is trying to figure out what to do with all of the stuff that you have just launched through this gentle massaging process. And what's really cool is we don't even realize we're doing this. So me standing on this platform for 10 minutes is causing every muscle fiber in my body, involuntarily, to contract and relax more times than I can even process or think about in an imaginary state. And it's doing it all on its own without me thinking. So it's really cool. That's how receptive our body is to vibration, and that's why it helps with pain. That's why it helps with fat loss, weight loss, detox. If you're diabetic, it helps. It has been proven to help with insulin regulation and blood sugar levels. It helps with that. It does not take the place of your current medical treatment, but it does help. If you are dealing with chronic pain, chronic wide body spread pain, whether it's MS, whether it's fibromyalgia, whether it's lupus, a lot of those things will result in improvement. I can't tell you that it's going to take everything away because that's like a dream state, but I can tell you on the days that I'm feeling not as good as others because I've either done too much or I'm exhausted. I tend to push myself really hard all the time, as do many of us. And so there's days that I'm just like, it catches up with you. And you wake up one day and you're like, whoa, like I don't know what happened over this last week, but today I feel awful. Get on it for 10 minutes and then the rest of your day is like cake. It's awesome. It's a great, great day. You have energy. If you are the person who needs to wind down at the end of the day because you have trouble sleeping, get on it about 15 minutes before you tuck into your bed, and it will help down-regulate your system, your central nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system, so that you can relax and settle into sleep, which is when your body fixes itself. On the other hand, if you're trying to surge that energy in the morning because you just can't seem to get going, then get on it before you get out the door to doing wherever you gotta go, or right after you wake up, before you eat, hop on it, and it will give you a huge surge of energy to get you through, part of your day. The difference in those levels, if you're trying to surge energy, you're going to choose a higher level. If you're on the Rumblex and you're choosing a pre-programmed setting, P2 is super energetic. The one I'm on right now is a P6. For many of you, that might be enough. Again, I'm starting to itch, which is a good thing because that means I'm breaking free those fat molecules, and now they're free floating, and now I can actually break them down for fuel and I can use them. If you are trying to use this for winding down at night, you don't want to get on the Rumblex on a P2 because it really is aggressive throughout, depending on what your tolerance is. So you're going to do a P1 or a P3 if you're just trying to tuck in for the night and get comfortable. For children, it's really good for children. There's no real age discrimination as to who gets on it. I would say, if you're to the point where you're walking stable, as a young child, 4 or 5 years old, my daughter's 9, she gets on them. They're fun, especially if, you make sure that your kiddos are supervised. But they're really good. If you have a blood clotting disorder, if you have DVT, deep vein thrombosis, you have a history of circulation issues that lead to clotting or a history of stroke, check with your physician before you get one to get on a routine basis. We want to make sure that you're cleared to do that. They're doing a lot of research right now with both of these platforms for cancer. And so a lot of cancer doctors are issuing these to their patients to use at home because of the lymphatic dynamics. So when you have individuals with cancer who have had lymph nodes removed and they can't take certain medications and they deal with swelling, these are really good to help move fluid throughout the body because our body's lymphatic system doesn't pump fluid like our heart does. And so this type of unit helps to move fluid around. So if you are, whether you're diabetic or you have issues with lymphedema, it's great for all of that. Whew, I'm really itchy now. So yeah, so those are the cool things between those two. So they're both very comparable. They're both very, very good. There's a lot of competitors that are out there right now. I can tell you that with Lifepro, their customer service is superior. All of the products have a lifetime warranty. So if you get a platform, it doesn't work after like 3 or 4 months of having it, contact Lifepro's customer service and they'll get you a brand new unit and they'll take your other unit. So their customer service is bar none best in the industry. And that's one of the reasons why I love working for them. They're just very attentive to a lot of needs of their consumers. They're always innovating and they're always listening to seeing what you need as a consumer. So if you have trouble with your device, make sure and reach out to us and let us know so that we can help you get a replacement or we can help you troubleshoot what's going on. If you have not already joined the VIP group, there's a VIP group that you can join that I teach and share a lot of information. I share everything to this original page, but if you would like to interact with some of the members in the VIP group, there's a lot of people there. Make sure that you register your device because if it quits working and if you don't register it, that doesn't help us. So make sure that you have registered your device. I think those are the main things I wanted to share with you today. Just giving you some ideas of what to expect between the two different models. They're both amazing. I started with mine a year ago for pelvic floor dysfunction after some like pelvic surgery. Had trouble with my muscles firing again, and so in buying my Hovert, things started to work with my home exercise program. Things started working better. I was just short of 200 pounds about Christmas time, spring break last year, and it's been a roller coaster ride. So I'm down about 25 pounds from when I first started during the holidays. So it does work if you're trying to get weight off, trying to shrink down in your clothing. The platforms do work. You just can't get too excited when you are craving certain things and eat more and not do the other things with the lifestyle. So, but if you are on the edge and you're having trouble getting over that edge with losing, the vibration platform might be just what you need. So if you are that individual, and if you can upgrade yourself to the Rumblex, I'm thinking you're gonna be really happy with that. But if you need to get started with something, you can always start with the Hovert or you can start with the Wave or the Turbo. I don't have the Turbo and the Wave over here, so I can't compare those two. But they're all of the Lifepro platforms are bar none incredible as you compare them to medical grade commercial units, which are thousands and thousands of dollars. So we're talking a couple hundred versus several thousand. So this is as close as it gets. I've been on the medical grade units. I've been on the expensive commercial units. And they're almost too overstimulating. But these are the perfect match. So if you haven't got one yet, now's the time to get one. And if you are listening and you order one from the Lifepro Fitness website, if you use the code AMBER10, AMBER 10, it'll give you an extra discount. I will post that in a link below the video so that you can always resort back to that. Share the information with your friends, forward this video on to friends, family, loved ones. I have taught videos on diabetes, neuropathy, core, back pain, pelvic floor. I've done so many different types of videos on how you can use our platforms. So make sure if you're trying to work with one of them or you're interested in one of them for a specific purpose, Joel's team is really good at being able to direct you in the direction that you might need more than the other if you're not sure. But I can tell you the Rumblex is awesome. So the Hovert is awesome too. But anyhow, it's up to you with whatever your preferences are. So thank you all so much for sharing your time with me today. And we hope that you experience one of our platforms in your home very soon. Enjoy.